I'm Emily, and I'm really happy you're joining me today. Before we begin, I want you to take a moment to relax, clear your mind, and get ready to immerse yourself in real natural English. For the next hour, you're going to listen, think, and grow your English skills in a way that feels smooth, practical, and connected to everyday life. If you're working toward a C1 or C2 level of English, you are in exactly the right place. Advanced English isn't just about memorizing complicated vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about understanding ideas deeply, expressing yourself clearly, and keeping up with fast, natural conversations that native speakers have every single day. That's what today's session is all about. During this lesson, you'll hear multiple speakers with different opinions, tones, and speaking styles. This will help you get comfortable with the variety of English you'll hear in the real world, whether you're in an international workplace, a university classroom, or even a casual conversation at a cafe. You'll learn how to follow complex discussions, strengthen your listening, and build natural fluency through meaningful topics. Today, we're exploring ideas that people around the world are constantly discussing: technology, society, communication, community, education, mental health, creativity, and our shared future. These topics matter because they shape our daily lives, and talking about them will help you develop the kind of English that's powerful, confident, and sophisticated. So, let's get started with our first topic of the day. Topic 1: Ethics and Responsibility in Modern Technology. Technology evolves faster than ever, and with that comes both excitement and concern. Around the world, people are asking the same questions. How do we use technology responsibly? Who decides what is right or wrong? And how do we make sure technology helps everyone, not just a few? Here is a conversation between 3 speakers sharing their views. Speaker 1: I believe the most important thing about new technology is responsibility. We're creating incredibly powerful tools, and if we don't set clear guidelines now, we may face serious consequences later. We need transparency, we need strong ethical standards, and we need to understand how these systems actually make decisions. Speaker 2: I understand that. But I also think we shouldn't forget how much technology has helped us. It has transformed medicine, education, and communication. It allows us to solve problems that once seemed impossible. So while we need rules, we also need to encourage innovation. Progress happens when we allow new ideas to grow. Speaker 3: I agree with both points, but I still feel cautious. Technology is already deeply connected to our daily lives, and most people don't even realize how much information is being collected or how decisions are being made. I'm concerned about privacy, fairness, and the possibility of hidden bias. People need education, not just access. Speaker 1: Exactly. If people don't understand how technology works, they can't trust it. And without trust, we can't move forward confidently. Education and transparency must go hand in hand. Speaker 2: That's true, but I still think we need to avoid slowing things down too much. Innovation moves quickly, and if we create overly strict rules, we might limit progress. It's all about balance, responsibility, and growth working together. Speaker 3: Yes, balance is the key. I want technology to support everyone, Regardless of background or income, we need to think about fairness, access, and long-term impact. That was a thoughtful discussion with several meaningful viewpoints. As you practice listening, notice how the speakers express agreement, concern, optimism, and caution. These are natural patterns in advanced English conversations. Now, let's move on to our next topic. All right, everyone, let's move into a topic that affects every country, every generation, and every workplace: the future of work. As technology grows, the world of work is changing rapidly. Jobs are transforming, new roles are being created, and entire industries are shifting. Many people feel excited about the possibilities, while others feel uncertain or worried about what comes next. Here is a conversation between three speakers sharing their perspectives. Conversation: the future of work. Speaker 1: I think the workplace of the future will look very different from what we see today. Automation is increasing, and many tasks that people do now may be handled by computers or machines. This doesn't mean people will stop working, but it does mean we'll need to adapt. Learning new skills will be essential, and those who stay flexible will have the best opportunities. Speaker 2: I agree that things will change, but I also believe technology will create many new jobs we can't even imagine yet. Technology can take over repetitive tasks, which allows us to focus on work that requires creativity, problem solving, and human connection. I think that, if we prepare correctly, technology can actually improve our work lives rather than replace us. Speaker 3: I hope that's true, but I'm still worried about people who don't have access to education or training. Not everyone has the chance to learn advanced skills, especially in communities where resources are limited. If technology moves too fast, some people might be left behind, and that could increase inequality. Speaker 1: That's a very important point. Education will be critical for everyone: children, teenagers, adults, even older workers. We can't expect people to adapt on their own. Governments, companies, and schools need to work together to offer high-quality training and support. Speaker 2: Yes, and I also think creativity and innovation will be extremely valuable. People who can think differently, adapt quickly, and find new solutions will thrive. The future of work won't just be about technical skills, it will also involve communication, teamwork, emotional intelligence, and resilience. Speaker 3: I completely agree, but I still believe that support systems are necessary. Not everyone learns at the same pace or has the same opportunities. We need programs that help people transition into new roles and provide guidance when careers change unexpectedly. This conversation highlights an important truth. The future of work isn't just about technology, it's about people. As the world changes, we need to stay open-minded, keep learning, and make sure everyone has access to opportunities. Now, let's continue to another major topic that affects almost everyone in the modern world. Topic 3: Social media and mental well-being. Social media is a massive part of modern life. Almost everyone uses it to connect with friends, stay informed, share experiences, or explore new ideas. But social media also brings challenges. And many people are beginning to ask, is it helping us or hurting us? Here is a discussion between three speakers with different viewpoints. Conversations, social media, and mental health. Speaker 1. I think it's clear that social media has a strong influence on mental health. People compare themselves to others constantly: what they look like, what they have, where they travel, how successful they seem. These comparisons can create anxiety, insecurity, and a sense of not being good enough. Speaker 2. I understand that, but I also think social media can be a positive thing. It allows people to find communities, connect with others who share similar interests, and express themselves creatively. For many people, social media is a place where they feel understood, supported, and inspired. Speaker 3. Both of those points are true, but I think younger people are especially vulnerable. Teenagers and even children are exposed to unrealistic images and messages every day. It's not always easy for them to understand what is real and what is edited or exaggerated. That can affect their self-esteem and emotional health. Speaker 1. Exactly. This is why education matters. We need to teach young people how to use social media responsibly, how to recognize unrealistic content, how to set boundaries, and how to balance online life with real experiences. Speaker 2. And we should also encourage more open conversations about mental health in general. People need to know that it's okay to seek help, to take breaks, and to prioritize their well-being. Social media should be a tool that supports us, not something that harms us. Speaker 3. I completely agree. We need to educate ourselves as well, not just the younger generation. Everybody needs to learn how to use social media mindfully so that we protect our mental well-being and support others at the same time. That was an honest and meaningful conversation. Social media is powerful, and understanding how it affects us is a key part of developing emotional intelligence and self-awareness skills that matter just as much as language learning. In the next section, we'll continue with another topic that connects deeply to society, culture, and daily life. All right, everyone, let's continue. We've talked about technology, the future of work, and the effects of social media. And now I want to move into another theme that is deeply connected to everyday life: the role of art in society. Art isn't just something we see in museums or galleries. It appears everywhere: music, films, books, dance, photography, design. Even the way we decorate our homes or express our emotions. Art shapes how we understand the world. Here is a conversation among 3 speakers sharing their thoughts on why art matters. Speaker 1. I believe art is essential for any society. It gives people a way to express ideas and emotions that they can't express in words alone. When you look at a painting or watch a film or listen to music, you often feel something that stays with you. Art helps us make sense of our experiences, and it helps us connect with other people on a deeper level. Speaker 2. I agree. But I also think one of the biggest challenges is accessibility. Not everyone grows up with opportunities to experience art. Some people feel like art isn't meant for them, but it should be for everyone. Everyone should have the chance to see art, create art, and enjoy it, no matter where they live or how much money they have. Speaker 3. Absolutely. Art can also be a powerful tool for social change. It can challenge the way we think about political issues, cultural issues, or personal issues. Sometimes a film or a song can change someone's perspective more effectively than a long speech or a debate. Art opens doors to new ideas. Speaker 1, and beyond that. Art brings people together. Community art projects, concerts, theater performances, festivals. These things make people feel connected. They remind us that we're not alone. That sense of belonging is something every society needs. Speaker 2. And art isn't limited to traditional forms like painting or sculpture. It includes music, dance, storytelling, digital art, photography, filmmaking, so many different ways for people to express themselves and feel heard. We need to support all forms of creativity. Speaker 3 exactly. Art belongs to everyone. People should feel free to create in whatever way feels natural to them, and every form of creativity should be valued. That was a warm and thoughtful discussion. Art reflects who we are, and it also shapes who we become. It reminds us to feel, to notice, to question, and to connect with others. Let's move on to another topic that affects almost every country around the world: globalization. The world is becoming more connected than ever, but this process brings both advantages and challenges. Here is a conversation exploring this idea. Speaker 1. I think globalization has played a major role in our history. It has opened doors for trade, travel, communication, and cultural exchange. People have more access to goods and opportunities than ever before. But even though globalization has created many benefits, we can't ignore the problems that come with it. Speaker 2, I agree. Globalization helps us learn about other cultures, but at the same time, it can also threaten cultural identity. Sometimes smaller cultures or traditions get overshadowed or lost. I think we need to work harder to protect cultural diversity around the world. Speaker 3. I agree with both of you, and I want to add something else. Globalization can increase inequality between countries and even between groups within the same country. Some people gain a lot from it, while others are left behind. We have to consider how to make the process more fair. Speaker 1. Another concern is the exploitation of workers. In many industries, companies try to reduce costs by moving production to places where wages are low and regulations are weak. This can lead to unfair working conditions, and we need to be aware of that. Speaker 2, yes. And we also need to think about the environment. Global trade increases pollution and waste, and it puts stress on natural resources. We must find ways to make global systems more sustainable. Speaker 3. And that's why balance is so important. Globalization shouldn't be stopped, but it should be managed responsibly. We need fairness, sustainability, and protection for all communities involved. That was a thoughtful discussion. Globalization affects your daily life more than you may realize: the food you eat, the technology you use, the clothes you wear, and the media you consume. Understanding its impact helps you think more critically about the world. Now, let's go into another topic that plays a big role in modern culture: popular culture. Popular culture influences the way we dress, the music we listen to, the movies we watch, and even the opinions we form. Here is a conversation exploring how powerful this influence can be. Speaker 1. I think popular culture has a huge impact on how people think and behave, whether it's music, films, fashion, or social media trends. These things shape our attitudes more than we realize. People often pick up ideas, beliefs, and behaviors just by absorbing what they see every day. Speaker 2, I agree. But I also think popular culture can be positive. It gives people shared experiences. When people enjoy the same movie or song, it creates a sense of connection, it brings people together, and sometimes it even encourages creativity and inspiration. Speaker 3. I agree with both of you, but I also think we need to be careful. Popular culture can spread stereotypes or unrealistic expectations. If people aren't paying attention, they can absorb harmful messages without noticing. So it's important to be an active, not passive, consumer. Speaker 1, yes. That's a great point. We have to be aware of what we're taking in. We should question what we see, think critically, and make conscious choices instead of simply following trends. Speaker 2, exactly. If we're not aware, we may not even realize how much we're being influenced. Awareness is the key. Speaker 3. And we should also create our own culture. Instead of just consuming trends, we can express ourselves in our own unique ways. That keeps us grounded and authentic. This is an important reminder for all of us: enjoy popular culture, but stay aware, thoughtful, and true to yourself. Let's continue. We've explored popular culture, and now I want to move into something that affects every single person on the planet: medical technology. Over the past century, and especially in recent years, medicine has advanced at a remarkable pace. New treatments are being created, diseases that were once deadly are now manageable, and access to healthcare is changing because of digital tools. Here is a conversation highlighting a range of viewpoints on this topic. Speaker 1. I think technology is transforming medicine in extraordinary ways. We can now treat illnesses that were impossible to treat even a few decades ago, and people are living longer and healthier lives because of these advancements. It's truly remarkable to see what doctors and scientists can do today. Speaker 2, I agree that the progress is amazing. But I also think we have to recognize that not everyone has equal access to these technologies. Some treatments are very expensive, and people in rural or low-income areas may not receive the same level of care. This creates a fairness issue that we need to address. Speaker 3. I see both sides, but I also think technology is helping make healthcare more accessible. For example, telemedicine allows people in remote areas to speak with a doctor without having to travel long distances. Wearable devices help people monitor their health from home. These tools support people who might not otherwise receive consistent care. Speaker 1. That's a great point, and as technology continues to advance, I think people will live even longer and enjoy better quality of life. But we have to make sure that these benefits reach everyone, not just a small group of people. Speaker 2, and we also need to think about the ethical issues. Just because we can create new technology doesn't always mean we should use it in every situation. We must consider safety, fairness, privacy, and the long-term consequences of introducing powerful tools into healthcare. Speaker 3. Exactly. These technologies have incredible potential, but they need to be used responsibly and with careful oversight so that everyone can benefit in a safe and ethical way. That conversation highlights something important. Technology can improve our lives dramatically, but only if we think carefully about how we use it and who it reaches. let's move into a topic that sits at the heart of every society: education. Education is something that shapes every individual's future. It affects careers, well-being, decision-making, and the way people see the world. Good education opens doors and helps create opportunities. Here is a discussion that explores why education matters so deeply. Speaker 1: Education is essential for every person. It helps people discover their interests, develop their skills, and understand the world around them. It allows people to reach their full potential and build better lives for themselves and their communities. Speaker 2: I completely agree. And I think education is just as important for society as it is for individuals. A well-educated society is more innovative, more creative, and more capable of solving problems. When people have knowledge and skills, everything improves healthcare, business, technology, the economy, and even daily life. Speaker 3: Yes, and education also builds confidence. When people understand how things work, they feel more capable and more prepared to make informed decisions. That's important not just for careers, but for democracy. People need knowledge to participate meaningfully in their communities. Speaker 1:1. Thing we really need to think about is what kind of education is most valuable today. The world is changing so quickly that traditional approaches are not always enough. We need to teach critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, communication, and flexibility. These skills prepare young people for the future. Speaker 2: Exactly. Academic knowledge is important, but it's not everything. People need real-world skills, emotional intelligence, collaboration skills, and the ability to adapt quickly. Those are the skills that will make the biggest difference in the modern world. Speaker 3: And education shouldn't only focus on exams or measurements. It should help develop the whole person socially, emotionally, intellectually, and creatively. A complete education shapes not just what people know, but who they become. That conversation shows how powerful education is. It's not simply about memorizing facts, it's about preparing people for life. Now, let's continue into another topic connected to the survival of our planet: environmental awareness. Environmental awareness has become a major global issue. Cities, countries, and communities around the world are feeling the effects of climate change, pollution, and the loss of natural habitats. People are beginning to understand that action is necessary, not optional. Here's a conversation reflecting these concerns. Speaker 1: I think it's incredibly important for everyone to understand the environmental challenges we're facing. Climate change, pollution, deforestation. These things are happening right now, and they're affecting our planet. We all need to be aware of what's happening and think about ways to improve this situation. Speaker 2: I agree. And I think one of the biggest steps is changing the way we live. We need to reduce waste, use fewer harmful materials, and protect wild areas and animals. Small daily actions like recycling, using less plastic, or saving energy can make a big difference when millions of people do them. Speaker 3: Yes. And I also believe we need to hold governments and large companies accountable. Individual actions matter, but big organizations have the biggest impact. They need to make responsible decisions, adopt cleaner technologies, and invest in sustainability. Speaker 1: Right. It's a shared responsibility. People need to take action, but systems and policies also need to change. If everyone works together, individuals, communities, companies, and governments, then real progress can happen. Speaker 2. And we need to teach younger generations about the environment. If children grow up understanding how important this issue is, then they will be more prepared to take care of the planet in the future. Speaker 3. Education. Responsibility and awareness, that's the combination we need if we want to protect the Earth for future generations. Let's continue. We've talked about the environment. And now I want to move into something that lies at the heart of human life: community. No matter where you live or what language you speak, the feeling of belonging to a community can shape your happiness, your confidence, and your overall well-being. Here is a conversation that explores why community is so important in our lives. Speaker 1. I believe that community is essential for all of us. When people feel connected to others, they feel supported, understood, and less alone. A strong community gives people a sense of belonging. It makes life feel warmer and more meaningful. Speaker 2, I agree. And I also think communities make people feel safe. When you know your neighbors and trust the people around you, everyday life becomes more comfortable. Communities create a feeling of stability, especially in times of difficulty or stress. Speaker 3, yes. And I think community is especially important for people who are new to a city or country. Moving to a new place can be incredibly isolating. But when you find a community that welcomes you, everything becomes easier. You feel seen, included, and supported. Speaker 1. And a community should always be open and inclusive. A healthy community doesn't judge people for their background, beliefs, or lifestyle. It welcomes everyone. Inclusion is what makes a community strong. Speaker 2. That's true. A community is not just about living near each other. It's about creating relationships that make people feel valued and respected. When communities practice kindness, acceptance, and cooperation, they become places where people can really thrive. Speaker 3. And all of us can help build that kind of community. It doesn't require big actions. Small gestures: greeting someone, offering help, listening. Being patient, these things build trust and connection. When we contribute positively, we help create the kind of environment we all want to live in. That was a beautiful discussion. Community gives shape to our lives. It reminds us that we're connected, even when life feels challenging or uncertain. Let's continue into another topic that touches every person on the planet: creativity. Creativity is not limited to artists or musicians. It is something that everyone uses in daily life when solving problems, expressing emotions, imagining new ideas, or making decisions. Creativity helps us grow, adapt, and understand ourselves better. Here is a conversation that explores this idea. Speaker 1. I think creativity is incredibly important. It allows people to express emotions that can't always be explained in ordinary language. Whether it's drawing, writing, playing music, or even thinking in new ways, creativity gives people an outlet to explore who they are. Speaker 2. I agree. And I also believe creativity is essential for mental well-being. When people engage in creative activities, they often feel more relaxed and more connected to themselves. Creativity reduces stress and gives people a healthy way to process their emotions. Speaker 3, yes, and beyond personal well-being. Creativity drives progress. Every new invention, every scientific breakthrough, every artistic movement, these things come from creative thinking. Without creativity, societies stop growing. Innovation depends on imagination. Speaker 1. And it's so important that schools encourage creativity from a young age. Children need space to experiment, explore, and express themselves. If we don't support creativity early, people may lose confidence in their ability to think outside the box. Speaker 2 resources are also important. People need time, materials, and mentors who can guide them. When people have access to supportive environments, their creativity has room to grow. Speaker 3. And we should remember that creativity takes many forms. You don't need to be a painter or a musician to be creative. Solving a problem, planning something new, or coming up with an idea for your future, that's all creativity. Everyone has it, and everyone should nurture it. That conversation highlights how essential creativity is not just for art, but for life. Creativity helps us express ourselves, find solutions, and build a future that feels meaningful. Now let's move into another topic that shapes the character of individuals and the quality of societies: empathy and compassion. These qualities are sometimes overlooked, but they are incredibly important for creating a world where people feel safe, respected, and supported. Speaker 1. I believe empathy and compassion are two of the most important qualities we can develop. Empathy helps us understand how others feel, and compassion motivates us to help them. When people practice these qualities, relationships become stronger and communities become kinder. Speaker 2, I completely agree. If more people acted with empathy and compassion, the world would be a much better place. These qualities reduce conflict, encourage cooperation, and help people feel understood. They create a sense of humanity that everyone needs. Speaker 3. And I think empathy and compassion are not only emotional qualities, they are actions. It's not enough to simply feel something. We have to express it through kindness, patience, and support. Small acts of compassion can change someone's entire day. Speaker 1, exactly. Holding a door, listening to someone, offering help, or simply being present, these things matter more than we realize. They make our world softer and more livable. Speaker 2. And compassion is powerful because it spreads. When someone experiences kindness, they often pass it on to others. It creates a chain reaction that can transform a community. Speaker 3. We all have the ability to show empathy and compassion. Sometimes it just takes a moment to slow down and consider someone else's feelings. When we practice these qualities regularly, we help create a world where everyone can feel valued. Let's continue. We've talked about empathy, compassion, and creativity. And now we're going to move into a topic that affects every decision we make in a world full of information critical thinking. In today's society, people are constantly exposed to news, opinions, videos, advertisements, and messages from countless sources. Without strong critical thinking skills, it becomes extremely difficult to know what is true and what is misleading. Here is a conversation that highlights why critical thinking matters so much. Speaker 1. I believe critical thinking is one of the most important skills a person can develop. It allows us to question information, examine evidence, and come to our own conclusions instead of simply accepting what we hear. Without critical thinking, people are more easily influenced or even manipulated. Speaker 2, I completely agree. Critical thinking is essential for solving problems and making decisions. Whether it's about health, money, relationships, or career choices, we need to be able to analyze information carefully. When people lack critical thinking skills, they can be misled very easily, especially online. Speaker 3. Yes. And I also think critical thinking helps us distinguish between fact and opinion. Today, people are surrounded by content that can be biased, emotional, or exaggerated. If we don't know how to evaluate information, we might believe something that isn't accurate at all. Speaker 1. And critical thinking is not just for academics. It's useful in everyday life, reading the news, talking to friends, deciding what to buy, choosing what to believe. It helps us make better choices and live more independently. Speaker 2. That's true, and it's a skill that needs practice. People don't become strong critical thinkers overnight. They need to ask questions, look at different viewpoints, and learn to check the sources of the information they consume. Speaker 3. And this skill needs to be taught to younger generations too. Children and teenagers should learn how to evaluate information critically so they can navigate the world confidently and safely. The earlier they learn it, the better prepared they will be. That conversation is a reminder that your ability to think clearly and critically affects every part of your life. It empowers you to make informed decisions and to understand the world more deeply. Let's continue into another topic that is closely connected to communication, travel, work, and global understanding, cultural awareness. As the world becomes more connected, understanding other cultures becomes more important than ever. Speaker 1. I think cultural awareness is essential. When you learn about another culture, you're learning about different perspectives, different values, and different ways of living. It helps you understand the world in a more complete and balanced way. Speaker 2. I agree, and I also think that learning about other cultures helps us challenge our own assumptions. Sometimes we don't even realize how limited our perspective is until we see how people in other places think and live. It makes us more open-minded and more flexible. Speaker 3, yes. And cultural awareness helps us see our own culture more clearly too. When we compare different traditions and customs, we start to understand ourselves better. It gives us a sense of perspective. Speaker 1. And cultural awareness encourages respect. When people understand the value of different traditions and lifestyles, they become more tolerant and more accepting. That's essential for living peacefully in a diverse world. Speaker 2. It also helps us build stronger relationships. Whether you're working with international colleagues, traveling to a new country, or simply meeting people in your own community who come from different backgrounds, cultural awareness makes communication smoother and more positive. Speaker 3. And diversity should be celebrated. The world is full of unique cultures, and each one offers something valuable. When we learn from each other, We grow not just as individuals, but as societies. This conversation shows how cultural awareness strengthens understanding, reduces conflict, and makes the world more interesting and harmonious. Now let's move into another topic that plays a major role in the modern world: technology's influence on daily life. Speaker One technology has changed almost every part of our daily routines. We use it to communicate, work, learn, shop, travel, and even relax. It helps us stay connected, but it can also become overwhelming when we rely on it too heavily. Speaker 2. I agree, technology brings many benefits, but it can also disconnect people from what's happening around them. When people spend too much time on their devices, they may lose touch with family, friends, or their environment. It can affect relationships and emotional well-being. Speaker 3. And there are other concerns too. Technology can spread misinformation, create addiction, and increase inequality. Some people have access to the best tools, while others have very limited access, which creates gaps in education, employment, and opportunity. Speaker 1. That's why it's important to use technology mindfully. We need to be aware of how much time we spend online and how it affects our mental health. Making time for real conversations, outdoor activities, and meaningful experiences helps create balance. Speaker 2. And privacy matters too. People should think carefully about what personal information they share online and how companies use that information. Being careful and informed keeps us safer. Speaker 3. Education plays a huge role as well. People need to know how to use technology responsibly so it benefits everyone rather than causing harm. This discussion reminds us that technology itself isn't good or bad, it depends on how we use it. Awareness, balance, and responsibility are what make technology truly helpful. Let's continue. We've talked about technology and cultural awareness. And now I want to move into something that has a powerful effect on our daily lives: kindness and compassion. These qualities may seem simple, but they have the ability to transform relationships, communities, and even our overall happiness. Here is a conversation reflecting on why kindness matters. Speaker 1. I think kindness and compassion are essential for building a positive society. When people show care and understanding toward each other, everything becomes more peaceful and more supportive. Even small acts of kindness can make a big difference in someone's day. Speaker 2. I completely agree. I think people often underestimate the impact of kindness. A warm smile, a helpful gesture, or a moment of patience can change how someone feels. You never know what others are going through. So kindness should always be our first instinct. Speaker 3. Yes. And kindness is not just about being polite. It's about genuinely caring for others. It's about imagining yourself in someone else's situation and responding with understanding. Compassion helps us build stronger connections and reduces loneliness and tension in our society. Speaker 1. And kindness is contagious. When one person experiences compassion, they're more likely to pass it on to others. This creates a chain reaction of positivity that can spread through a community. Speaker 2. Exactly. And what I love about kindness is that it doesn't require anything special. You don't need money or status or special skills. Everyone has the ability to be kind. and everyone has the opportunity to make a difference. Speaker 3. And when people show kindness consistently, it creates a world where people feel supported and valued. It helps reduce conflict, increases cooperation, and encourages empathy. That was an inspiring conversation about kindness. Let's continue with another topic that affects the foundation of every country and every person's future education and its evolution. Education is constantly changing, and the needs of today's world are different from the needs of the past. Here is a conversation discussing how education must evolve. Speaker 1. I think education systems need to change in order to prepare young people for the world they are entering. Memorizing facts is no longer enough. Students need to learn how to think critically, solve problems, communicate clearly, and adapt to new situations. Speaker 2, I agree completely. And I also think technology should be used in smarter ways in classrooms. Digital tools can help students understand concepts better, connect with new resources, and learn at their own pace. But we also need to teach them how to use technology safely and responsibly. Speaker 3. Yes, and education must become more inclusive. Every student deserves equal opportunities, regardless of their background or financial situation. A strong education system helps reduce inequality and creates a more balanced and fair society. Speaker 1. And students need to feel valued. They should be supported emotionally as well as academically. When students feel safe and respected, they learn better and grow more confidently. Speaker 2. I also think schools should focus on developing a wide range of skills. Academic knowledge is important, but so are life skills, communication, time management, teamwork, emotional intelligence. These skills help students succeed both in school and in life. Speaker 3. And education shouldn't stop at graduation. Learning is a lifelong process. Schools should teach students how to learn independently so they can continue to grow throughout their lives. That was a thoughtful discussion about the future of education. Now let's continue with a topic that influences the well-being of every person: access to healthcare. Speaker 1. I believe that access to healthcare is a basic human right. Everyone deserves medical care, no matter where they were born or how much money they have. It's not fair for people to suffer simply because they can't afford treatment. Speaker 2, I agree completely. Many countries struggle with healthcare systems that are unequal, and people often receive very different levels of care depending on their income. Governments need to make sure everyone has access to necessary medical services. Speaker 3, yes, and healthcare needs to be affordable as well as accessible. It's heartbreaking when someone knows what treatment they need but can't pay for it. A fair system should protect people from that kind of situation. Speaker 1. Prevention is also important. People need education about how to take care of their health, nutrition, exercise, mental well-being. When people understand how to prevent illness, they can live healthier lives and reduce pressure on healthcare systems. Speaker 2. And we must remember that mental health is just as important as physical health. People should feel comfortable seeking help without feeling ashamed. Mental health support should be available, accessible, and respected. Speaker 3. A strong healthcare system is one that protects people's dignity and treats everyone fairly. when healthcare is inclusive and responsible. Societies become stronger and more resilient. Let's continue. We've talked about healthcare. And now I want to move into a topic that has become more important than ever in our fast-changing world: lifelong learning. Learning doesn't stop when school ends. In fact, some of the most meaningful learning happens long after graduation. Here is a conversation that explores why lifelong learning matters. Speaker 1. I believe learning should continue throughout our entire lives. The world is constantly changing, and we need to keep growing with it. When we keep learning, we stay mentally active, curious, and open-minded. It helps us become better at adapting to new situations. Speaker 2. I agree completely. Lifelong learning also helps us stay motivated and engaged. When people discover new skills or interests, they often feel more confident and fulfilled. It gives them a sense of purpose, and it keeps life exciting. Speaker 3. Yes. And I think lifelong learning is also necessary for careers. New technologies and new industries appear all the time, so people need to stay updated if they want to remain competitive. When people continue learning, they open new opportunities for themselves. Speaker 1. And it's not just about jobs. Learning new things can help improve mental health. It can give people a fresh perspective, help them overcome challenges, and make them feel more connected to their communities. Speaker 2. Exactly. And learning doesn't require formal classes. It can come from reading, watching educational videos, practicing a hobby, traveling, talking to new people, or exploring new ideas. There are so many ways to grow. Speaker 3. And the best part is that anyone can do it. No matter your age or background, there is always something new to learn. And learning something new always brings value to your life. That was an inspiring conversation. Lifelong learning encourages us to stay open, curious, and engaged with the world. Now let's move into a topic closely connected to progress and development, creativity, and innovation. Speaker 1. I think creativity and innovation are essential for solving modern problems. Without creative thinking, we would not have the technologies, medicines, or ideas that shape our world today. Creativity allows us to explore new possibilities. Speaker 2. I agree. Innovation is what helps societies move forward. When people think creatively, they can find solutions to environmental issues, economic challenges, and social problems. It's a key part of progress. Speaker 3. Yes. And it's important to remember that creativity is not only for artists or inventors. Every person has the ability to think creatively. Whether you're finding a new way to organize your life or trying to improve a daily habit, creativity plays a role. Speaker 1. And creativity supports mental well-being too. It allows people to express themselves, release stress, and find joy in their everyday routines. It gives people a way to connect with their inner thoughts and feelings. Speaker 2. That's true, and if we don't encourage creativity in society, we limit our potential. Innovation comes from imagination, and imagination needs space to grow. Speaker 3. Yes. And creativity should be nurtured in all environments: in schools, workplaces, communities, and homes. When people feel safe to express ideas, innovation becomes much more natural. That was a powerful reminder that creativity and innovation are essential for building a better future. Now let's shift into a topic related to diversity and human connection inclusion. Speaker 1. I believe diversity and inclusion are absolutely necessary for a healthy society. When people with different backgrounds, experiences, and cultures come together, they create richer ideas and more meaningful conversations. Diversity strengthens communities. Speaker 2. I agree. A diverse environment encourages people to think differently and to learn from one another. It brings creativity, new perspectives, and new possibilities. And it also helps people feel seen and valued. Speaker 3. Yes. And inclusion is just as important as diversity. It's not enough to simply have different people in the same space. Everyone needs to feel welcomed, respected, and treated fairly. Inclusion means giving everyone the chance to participate and succeed. Speaker 1. I also think diverse workplaces are much more innovative. When people with unique viewpoints collaborate, they often come up with stronger and more creative solutions to problems. Speaker 2. Exactly. And people perform better when they feel included. When people feel appreciated for who they are more motivated, more confident, and more willing to contribute. Speaker 3. And beyond workplaces. Inclusive communities help build trust and connection. They allow people to feel like they belong, no matter where they come from or what their experiences are. This conversation reminds us that embracing diversity makes us stronger, more open, and more human. When we learn from each other, we grow together. Let's continue. We've just explored diversity and inclusion. And now I want to move into a topic that affects the health of our planet and the well-being of future generations' responsible consumption. Everything we buy, use, and throw away impacts the environment in some way. Here's a conversation discussing why mindful consumption matters. Speaker 1. I believe responsible consumption is essential if we want to protect our planet. Every product we buy has a story how it was made, where it came from, and what resources were used. When we understand this, we can make better choices that reduce harm to the environment. Speaker 2. I agree. One of the most important steps is reducing waste. People often buy things they don't need, or they throw away items that could be reused or recycled. If everyone thought more carefully about what they purchase and how they dispose of things, we could reduce a huge amount of waste. Speaker 3. Yes, and I think it's also important to understand how products are made. Some companies follow ethical and sustainable practices, while others do not. When consumers support responsible companies, it encourages better behavior across the industry. Speaker 1. And responsible consumption isn't only about buying less, it's also about buying better, choosing durable. High-quality products helps reduce waste and saves money in the long run. Speaker 2. Education plays a big role too. People need to know why responsible consumption is important and how small changes in daily habits can make a big difference. Speaker 3. And we need to teach younger generations as well. When children learn about sustainability early in life, they grow up with habits that protect the environment naturally. That was a thoughtful discussion. And it leads us into another important topic that affects every person in every community: mental health awareness. Mental health is something that people all around the world are finally beginning to discuss more openly. Here is a conversation exploring why awareness and support are so important. Speaker 1. I think mental health should be treated with the same importance as physical health. Everyone has mental health, and everyone experiences emotional challenges at different points in life. People should feel comfortable talking about their feelings without fear of judgment. Speaker 2. I completely agree. Mental health problems are more common than many people realize. When people feel ashamed or afraid to ask for help, their problems often become worse. Open conversations make it easier for people to seek support. Speaker 3. And I think education is crucial. People need to understand how to recognize mental health challenges, how to take care of themselves, and how to support others. Many people don't know where to begin, so education can truly change lives. Speaker 1. Self-care is also important. People should learn how to rest, how to manage stress, and how to step back when life becomes overwhelming. Taking care of ourselves is not selfish, it's necessary. Speaker 2. Exactly. People need to learn how to create healthy boundaries and how to avoid burnout. And when someone needs help, they should know that asking for support is a sign of strength, not weakness. Speaker 3. And communities should work together to create safe environments where people can talk openly about mental health. When support is available and stigma disappears, people feel freer to speak honestly about what they're going through. That conversation shows how essential it is to prioritize mental health in our daily lives. Now let's continue with another topic that shapes human experience: friendship. Strong friendships can make life richer, happier, and more meaningful. Here's a conversation about why lifelong friendships matter. Speaker 1. I believe that friendships are incredibly important. They give us support, understanding, and a sense of connection. When life becomes difficult, friends are often the people who help us through it. Speaker 2. I agree. Good friends also make us happier and healthier. Spending time with people who care about us can reduce stress and increase our overall well-being. Friendships bring joy, laughter, and comfort into our lives. Speaker 3. Yes, and friendships help us grow. When we talk to friends, we are exposed to new ideas and perspectives. Friends challenge us, motivate us, and help us become better people. Speaker 1. And it's important to remember that friendships require effort. People need to make time for each other, communicate honestly, and show appreciation. Strong friendships don't just happen, they are built over time. Speaker 2. That's true, and good friendships need trust. When people trust each other, they feel safe sharing their feelings, hopes, and fears. Trust makes relationships deeper and more meaningful. Speaker 3. And being a good friend is just as important as having one. Kindness, patience, loyalty, and empathy help friendships last for many years. When people support each other through life's challenges, the bond grows stronger. Let's continue. We've discussed friendships, and now we're going to explore a topic that has a big influence on personal growth and long-term success: having a growth mindset. The way we think about our abilities shapes how we approach challenges, how we respond to failure, and how much we believe in our own potential. Here is a conversation about why a growth mindset is so valuable. Speaker 1, I think having a growth mindset is incredibly important. When people believe they can improve, they become more motivated and more resilient. Instead of being afraid of challenges, they see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Speaker 2, I completely agree. A growth mindset helps people stay persistent. Instead of giving up when something becomes difficult, they try again, adjust, and keep moving forward. It teaches people that progress takes time and that mistakes are part of the learning process. Speaker 3, yes. And having a growth mindset also helps people stay open to new experiences. When someone believes they can learn new things at any stage of life, they're more willing to explore new ideas, try new skills, or step outside their comfort zone. Speaker 1, and what I love about the growth mindset is that it's not something you are born with. Anyone can develop it. You can train your mind to see challenges differently and to trust in your ability to improve. Speaker 2, exactly. And when people develop a growth mindset, they become more confident. They stop comparing themselves to others and focus more on their own progress. That shift in perspective makes a huge difference. Speaker 3, a growth mindset also helps people build healthier relationships. When people believe that they and others can grow and improve, they become more patient, more supportive, and more understanding. That conversation reminds us that embracing challenges and learning from mistakes can help us reach our full potential. Now let's continue with a topic that is closely connected to personal development, education, and our global future, the future of learning and the future of education. Speaker 1, I think education is going to change a lot in the coming years. The world is evolving so quickly that traditional methods don't always meet today's needs. Students need to learn how to think independently, solve problems creatively, and work with people from all kinds of backgrounds. Speaker 2, I agree. Schools should also focus more on teaching skills that help people succeed in real-life communication. Emotional intelligence, critical thinking, teamwork, and the ability to adapt. These skills matter just as much as academic subjects. Speaker 3, yes. And I also think technology will play a larger role in education. Online learning, digital tools, and interactive platforms can make education more flexible and accessible. But we must make sure that technology is used in smart and responsible ways. Speaker 1, and we need to make education more inclusive. Every student deserves equal opportunities to learn, grow, and succeed. Education should empower people, not limit them. Speaker 2, and learning should continue throughout life. People need to keep developing skills as the world changes. The future will reward people who stay curious and continue learning every single day. Speaker 3, and education should help people develop a love of learning, not just a desire to pass exams. When people feel excited about learning, they stay engaged, creative, and open-minded. That mindset prepares them for anything. That was a meaningful conversation about how education must evolve to keep up with the world. Now let's continue with another topic that impacts every society: access to healthcare and the importance of fairness in medical systems. Speaker 1, I believe access to healthcare should be equal for everyone. People shouldn't suffer because they can't afford medicine or treatment. Health is a basic human right, and governments should work to ensure that care is available to all. Speaker 2. I agree. It's heartbreaking when people know what they need medically, but can't access it due to cost or lack of resources. A society becomes stronger when its citizens are healthy, and providing fair healthcare is a major part of that. Speaker 3, yes. And we also need to emphasize prevention, educating people about nutrition, exercise, mental health. And healthy habits can reduce illness and create a better quality of life for everyone. Speaker 1. Mental health especially needs more attention. People should feel comfortable seeking help and talking openly about their emotions. There should be no stigma around caring for your mind. Speaker 2. And healthcare systems should respect people's dignity. Everyone deserves to be treated with compassion, fairness, and professional care. Speaker 3. A strong, inclusive healthcare system doesn't just treat illness, it supports people's overall well-being and helps build a healthier, more stable society. Let's continue. We've explored healthcare, growth mindset, and the future of education. And now I want to move into a topic that is becoming increasingly important in modern society: access to healthcare in a changing world. As medical systems evolve, different countries face unique challenges, and people are beginning to think more deeply about what fair healthcare really means. Here is a continuation of the discussion, expanding on the idea of fairness and responsibility. Speaker 1. I think a fair healthcare system should focus not only on treatment, but also on long-term well-being. People need regular access to checkups, preventative care, mental health support, and reliable information. When healthcare includes all of these elements, people stay healthier and societies function better. Speaker 2. I agree completely. And there's something else: people need to feel safe asking for help. In many places, people avoid going to the doctor because they're afraid of the cost or they don't trust the system. A strong healthcare system should make people feel supported and confident, not anxious or confused. Speaker 3, yes. And healthcare workers also need strong support. Doctors, nurses, and medical staff work incredibly hard. When they are overwhelmed or exhausted, the quality of care decreases. So, fairness in healthcare also means supporting the people who provide it. That was a thoughtful discussion, and now I want to shift into a topic that connects deeply to personal development and lifelong fulfillment: the importance of learning throughout your entire life. We explored this earlier, but here is a continuation that dives even deeper into how learning shapes identity and purpose. Speaker 1. I believe lifelong learning helps people discover who they truly are. When people learn new things, they discover new interests, new strengths, and even new sides of their personality. Learning keeps us connected to the world around us and to ourselves. Speaker 2. I agree. Learning also keeps people mentally active. It strengthens memory, increases curiosity, and helps people stay engaged. When people stop learning, they often feel stuck or disconnected. Learning brings energy and excitement into life. Speaker 3. And it gives people freedom. When you learn new skills, you create more opportunities for yourself. You can change careers, travel, connect with new communities, and make better decisions. Learning opens doors that might have seemed impossible before. Speaker 1. And what's beautiful is that learning doesn't have to be formal. You don't need to enroll in a university or take expensive classes. You can learn through conversations, reading, exploring your interests, practicing new activities, or simply paying attention to the world around you. Speaker 2, exactly. And lifelong learning teaches people to stay humble. It reminds us that no matter how much we know, there's always more to discover. This mindset helps us grow emotionally and intellectually. Speaker 3. And when societies encourage lifelong learning, they become more resilient. People respond better to change, adapt faster, and develop stronger problem-solving skills. A world that values learning is a world that constantly improves. Now let's continue into another important topic that influences our habits, choices, and environmental impact: responsible consumption. Earlier, we talked about the effect of consumer behavior, but here's a deeper look at how individual actions connect to global consequences. Speaker 1. I think people often forget that their everyday choices have real impact. When we buy something, we're not just making a personal decision, we're supporting the systems that produce those items. Responsible consumption is about being aware of that connection. Speaker 2, I agree. And it's also about understanding that convenience often comes with hidden costs. For example, cheap products may be affordable in the moment, but they often break quickly or create more waste. Thinking about quality over quantity is a big step towards sustainability. Speaker 3. And responsible consumption also means thinking about fairness. Were the workers treated well? Were the materials sourced responsibly? Does the company give back to communities? When people consider these questions, their choices become more ethical and more supportive of a better future. Speaker 1. And people don't have to make huge changes. Even small actions using reusable bags, buying from local shops, reducing unnecessary purchases can make a meaningful difference when practiced consistently. Speaker 2, exactly. And when one person makes better choices, it inspires others to do the same. Change grows naturally when people lead by example. Speaker 3. And education plays a major role. When people understand how their actions affect the environment and society, they become more mindful consumers. Knowledge leads to responsibility. Let's move into another topic that affects emotional well-being and the ability to live a balanced, fulfilling life: mental health awareness. Earlier we touched on it, but here's a deeper conversation about how mental health shapes our daily experiences. Speaker 1. I think the most important step in improving mental health awareness is recognizing that everyone struggles sometimes. Life can be stressful, unpredictable, and overwhelming. When people understand that these feelings are normal, it becomes easier to talk about them openly. Speaker 2, I agree. And people need to learn how to care for their minds the same way they care for their bodies. Rest, healthy boundaries, supportive relationships, and moments of reflection are all essential for mental well-being. Speaker 3. And community support matters too. When people feel safe expressing their emotions, they are more likely to reach out for help. Kindness, understanding, and patience from others can make a huge difference. Speaker 1. And mental health conversations should happen regularly. not only during moments of crisis, talking about mental well-being in schools, workplaces, families, and communities helps reduce stigma. Speaker 2. And we need to teach people how to recognize signs of stress, anxiety, or burnout. Early awareness can prevent problems from becoming worse. Speaker 3. Mental health is a shared responsibility when individuals, families, and communities work together. Everyone becomes stronger and more resilient. Thank you for spending your time practicing with me today. The fact that you're here, listening, thinking, and challenging yourself already shows how dedicated you are to improving your English. And that effort matters. It brings you closer to fluency every single day. Remember, progress doesn't happen all at once. It happens step by step, moment by moment, session by session. And every time you listen, every time you repeat, every time you think in English, you're moving forward. I'm really proud of the work you've done today. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for giving yourself this time to grow. It means a lot that you're here, and I'm grateful that you chose to learn with me. If you enjoyed this session and want more advanced English listening practice, make sure to come back for the next episode. And if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to like the video and subscribe. It helps more learners find content that can truly make a difference. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you continue learning, exploring, and improving. Keep going, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself. This is Emily, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye for now.